You know, some stories, they just don't have a final chapter. They just stop, leaving this silence right where the truth is supposed to be. In this explainer, we're diving deep into America's most famous unsolved cases. Stories that are defined not by how they end, but by the questions that just refuse to go away.
Think about it. We're all kind of wired to expect a resolution, right? In books, in movies, the mystery always gets wrapped up with a neat little bow. But what happens in real life when that final chapter is just gone?
Well, instead of getting that closure we crave, we're left with a void. It's like a puzzle, but the most important pieces are missing. Forever.
And these are the stories that are defined by those questions. They haunt investigators, they echo through the decades, and they leave all of us just wondering. Okay, so our first case isn't just about a series of terrible crimes. It's about a killer who turned the whole thing into a terrifying public spectacle. A twisted game he played with the police, the press, and, well, with everybody. The whole thing starts in Northern California, back in the late 60s. Right in the middle of the summer of love, this shadow emerges. He calls himself the Zodiac, and he begins this absolutely chilling campaign of chaos. See, he wasn't content to just commit these horrific acts in the dark. No, he wanted the spotlight. He gave himself a name, he created his own creepy symbol, and he started communicating directly with the world through these cryptic letters, turning his crimes into a horrifying media event. And his identity, it remains one of America's most enduring criminal mysteries. The letters eventually stopped, but the questions, they never did. In fact, some of his ciphers are still unsolved to this day, a direct, coded challenge sent from a ghost.
So, while the Zodiac Killer made his presence terrifyingly known, our next cases are about the complete opposite. We're talking about people who stepped into history and then, almost literally, just vanished into thin air. First up, a true icon, Amelia Earhart. It's 1937, she's at the absolute peak of her fame, and she's attempting to fly around the globe. But somewhere over the vast, empty Pacific Ocean, her plane just disappears. No wreckage, no final distress call, just silence.
Okay, now let's fast forward to 1971 for a totally different kind of disappearance. A man who uses the alias D.B. Cooper calmly hijacks a Boeing 727. He gets his ransom money, and then he does something that sounds like it's straight out of a movie. He parachutes out of the back of the plane into a stormy night, never to be seen or heard from again.
And the ransom he got away with? $200,000. To put that in perspective, that's like over $1.5 million today. Cooper didn't just disappear, he vanished with a fortune, pulling off one of the boldest heists in American history.
I mean, they couldn't be more different, right? One is a celebrated hero on this amazing mission of exploration, and the other is a complete mystery man, a criminal on a mission of extortion. And yet, they share the exact same fate. Both of them just became ghosts in their own stories.
But sometimes, the mystery isn't about someone who vanishes. It's about what they leave behind. Our next cases involve victims who were tragically found, but the scenes themselves, they only created even more terrifying questions.
In 1947 Los Angeles, the brutal murder of a young woman named Elizabeth Short, who the press nicknamed the Black Dahlia, became a national sensation. Despite dozens of people confessing in this massive investigation, her killer was never found. The case has pretty much become a dark piece of Hollywood folklore.
A little over a decade later, and halfway around the world, an even stranger mystery unfolds. In the desolate Ural Mountains, 9 experienced hikers die under the most baffling circumstances you can imagine. The scene that investigators stumbled upon made absolutely zero sense.
Seriously, try to wrap your head around this scene. Their tent was sliced open from the inside, like they were desperately trying to flee something in terror. They ran out barefoot into the freezing wilderness, and when their bodies were found, some had these severe internal injuries, but with no external signs of a struggle. It just defies any kind of logical explanation.
The official explanations have changed over the years, but really, none of them have stuck. The theories range from a rare kind of avalanche to a secret military weapons test, leaving us with possibilities that are almost as strange as the event itself.
So, a taunting killer, impossible disappearances, a grisly Hollywood murder, and a baffling scene in the Russian wilderness. Despite decades of investigations and just that desperate human need to have an answer, a single, frustrating truth unites every single one of them. And that's it.
That's the core of why these stories haunt us. The final page of each of these stories is just blank, and it leaves us staring into the void, just wondering. So what does all this mean? The fact that these cases endure forces us to confront the very nature of mystery itself and our own relationship with the unknown.
It really makes you ask yourself, why do these specific stories stick around? Maybe it's because they challenge our belief that everything can eventually be figured out, cataloged, and understood.
Maybe the power in these cases isn't in a solution that we might find one day. Maybe it's in the chilling, permanent possibility that we may never know what truly happened. Because sometimes the unknown is just far more terrifying than any truth could be.
So, which story sticks with you the most? The killer's taunting game? The impossible disappearance? Or the scene that defies all logic? The answers may be lost to time, but the questions themselves, well, they've become the real story.